Real quick. Right.
That's fun.
Here, I check.
So drag it out.
Don't say anything anyway.
Yeah. Tonight, so there's 5 public hearings.
That's what.
Diane, are you ready? Diane, you ready? Pam, are you ready? Pam,
John and.
ready?
Yeah, sorry.
We'll wait. We're gonna go ahead and get started this evening.
Just unmuted it.
Sorry. We can get started this evening with the City of Centerton Planning Commission meeting, June 3rd, 2025, with a roll call.
Kevin Murphy. Here. Craig Langford. Here. John Sessoms.
Here.
He's there. John.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
John Sessoms.
I'm here.
It's on there.
Text him real quick.
Yeah. He's talking. He's unmuted.
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear you.
All right, let's go. We'll come back to John.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Lewis, Tony Davis. Brandon Swoboda. Curtis Ramsey. Joey Engel. And Jeff Safar.
I'm here. John, any luck?
Can you hear me now?
Moving, but no sound, just coming from.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah, it's, I just want to make sure. I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Sound turned on. Yeah.
All right, I'm not done.
Hey, Don, you might just try rejoining or reset your computer or something, and we can't hear you.
I'll do that a few times.
All right, we're gonna move forward. Once he jumps back in, then we'll count him in for the record. First thing on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes from our 5/20/2025 meeting.
Okay.
Motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? Next on the agenda is we have the ratification of the admin approvals. There's a home occupation for tutoring. There's a home occupation for storage of some material and online sales. There's a dog groomer and a track split for the Splash Car Wash. Any questions or comments from staff or any of the commissioners on the admin approvals?
I'll motion to approve the admin approvals.
Sorry, just to clarify, that plat is actually a right-of-way easement dedication plat.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I see it there. Thank you.
Mhm.
I saw the track split up, I saw the TS at the front. Thank you for the clarification. So if there's no questions or comments, Ben, we would entertain your motion.
Motion to approve admin approvals.
Second.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? John said he joined with phone audio. If you can unmute him, he said.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, John.
I can hear you multiple times.
The host would like your microphone.
That didn't work either, John. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move forward since we do have 5 public hearings this evening. First, public hearing under new business, the conditional use. This is conditional use 2508. It's for a short-term rental at 1031.
I got it. He's on there now.
Hey, John. This is for a short-term rental at 1031 States Avenue. It is zoned R3 single family. And is the applicant or owner here to give us an overview of what you're requesting? Just give us your name and address and then what you guys are looking to do.
My name is Kathleen Sabriata. My address is Garlock Circle, Bella Bush, Arkansas, 72715. And I am proposing a conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental in our investment property in Centerton. It's an 800 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath, single-family home. And our goal is to cater to relocating families and travelers and visitors that are visiting the area. We intend to operate through platforms such as Airbnb and Furnished Finder. And in order to take care of the community and respect our guests and our neighbors, we will literally screen our guests through Airbnb, through the government ID verification check, and also screen past reviews and profiles, as well as using KeyCheck on Furnished Finder to do background checks for longer stays. We have 2 parking spaces on the driveway, so those are private spaces, so street parking is not necessary. Traffic won't be affected much because the maximum occupancy will be 5 guests. And that is typical of a standard household. So, I believe that's it. That's
1 bedroom or 2? Is it 1 bedroom or 2?
2 bedrooms.
Thank you.
Also provided a handout. I don't know if that's beneficial to you all. I think you already have it.
Yeah, I think we have the, thank you.
Thank you.
Taylor, will you give us a staff overview, please?
So the applicant is requesting a conditional use for short-term rental, which is use 86 in our schedule of uses in Title 14. The property is 0.07 acres and is lot 238 in the Featherston Village Phase 2 subdivision, which is located on the southeast corner of Kimmel and Womack Road. The property is zoned medium-high single-family with an approved PUD, which allowed for smaller lot sizes and a higher density. The owner would like to use the property as a permanent rental property for the option of short-term rentals. The home is 2-bedroom with 1 bathroom and can sleep up to 5 people. The zoning is in your packet for you, including what got approved with the PUD to allow for smaller lot area, lot width, and reduce setbacks. The property is surrounded by R3SF zoning because it's in the Featherston Village Phase 1 and Phase 2 subdivision. To the north, south, and west. The adjacent property to the east is zoned R4 MF, which is the future Dunes at Murray Valley. The property can be accessed from Kimmel Road to the north and Womack Road to the west. All streets in the Featherston Village subdivision are private with no sidewalks. However, pedestrian trails are located within the subdivision between lots and within common areas. The home is connected to Centerton Water and Sanitary Sewer. There are 2 parking spaces provided in the driveway of each home. There are areas for guests to park in the subdivision, however, there is no on-street parking. The property will be managed by the property owners, as she stated. The covenants for Featherston Village do not prohibit leasing or renting properties within the subdivision. Please do note, though, that covenants are a private agreement with the POA, so it's not enforceable by the city anyways. So they asked for an indefinite period of time from date of PC approval. There is one other short-term rental in Featherston that was approved by you guys last year. You guys approved it for 5 years. So for your guys' consideration, how long, if you approve it, how long would you like to approve it for? All occupants are required to park in the provided 2-car driveway or the designated guest parking areas. And no time shall the total number of people residing in the single residence exceed the total capacity allowable by fire or building codes. All licenses, fees, and permits and other necessary items for Airbnb and other short-term rental requirements shall be met. If there are other city or state or other regulatory requirements passed by new ordinance or law, the property should then follow those. And then everything else is typical with a short-term rental. If there are complaints or issues, you guys can bring it back and revoke it if necessary. I'm happy to answer any questions. There was 1 public comment received. They sent 1 email, which is in your packet, and then they sent 1 this afternoon with some research they did. So I'm not sure that one made it into the digital packet, but Jeff, you have it in your packet.
Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners before we open it up to the public? If not, then I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
This is Craig. I make a motion to open the public hearing for CU 25-08.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. Is anyone opposed? All right, I'll introduce the two letters real quick and I'll do it in a summary. This is from a resident at 950 States Avenue. Again, just expressing an opposition in regards to short-term rentals. One of the concerns is kind of enforcing the rules, which I think was shared as far as different ways to vet through the app, I believe, in order to look at history and some other things on the guests. So I think that does address one of the questions that this particular person asked. Just shares the fact that it's a neighborhood with, lots of people. This is a rather crowded neighborhood, if you will. And just talks about, all the neighbors being in the neighborhood and walking around, including some children. Her side note is that there's actually 8 houses. So this to me appears to be one that's trying to do it legally instead of not. And so 8 houses listed on Airbnb as short-term rentals, just as a side note. And then talks a little bit about how the proliferation of short-term rentals in such densely populated subdivision will negatively impact the safety, stability, and serenity of the community of homeowners and long-term renters. And for that reason, she's requesting that we deny it. Her follow-up note that came in this afternoon at 4:51 just shares some of the studies about the short-term rentals and transient occupier and whatnot. So again, same opposition to the request. So we are open to the public. If there's anyone that wishes to speak, have any questions or comments in regards to the short-term rental request, we'd ask that you come to the podium, state your name, address, and any questions, comments, or concerns that you might have. Second call for anyone
Yeah,
that
this is
wishes
John.
to. Hey, John.
Audio check. Okay.
Second call for anyone who wishes to speak. And third and final call. And then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Just for the record, they did meet all of their other public hearing requirements.
Thank you.
Yeah, motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is there anyone that's opposed? Any other questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
So just to clarify, we've already approved the short-term rental and subdivision before.
Yes.
Okay.
With a 5-year term,
Very good.
5-year term on that one, so.
And again, just as a note, there, as a conditional use, I lost my page here, but, understand that if there's any complaints, then we would see you back or anything like that. So just understand that as part of the rules, if you will, in regards to the conditional use. Are you guys good with 5 years?
Yeah.
If so, then just include that in the motion. So there's no other questions or comments. Excuse me, I would entertain a motion for the conditional use for the short-term rental at 1031 States Avenue.
Tony, I make a motion to approve CU 25-08 at 1031 States Avenue. For a 5-year period.
Second.
Motion and a second. Samantha, if you do a roll call for me, please.
Tony Davis, Brenda Swoboda.
Yes.
Yes.
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
John Sessoms,
Yes.
Craig Langford,
Yes.
Jeff Safer.
Yes, as well. Thank you. Good luck. All right, next on the agenda is also public hearing. This is for conditional use 2509. Beecham Garage Edition. They're looking for a detached garage at 521 Timber Ridge Street. It is zoned R3 single family. And it looks like the applicant's owner, Jeff and Teresa Beecham. You guys here to kind of give us an overview of what you're trying to do?
Jeff Beecham, 501 Timber Ridge Street, here in Centerton. So this structure is supposed to be used as a private use only. We don't plan on renting it out. Parking the personal vehicles there, work on personal vehicles, store personal vehicles. And have extended family, because we do like our privacy in our own home, have extended family stay in a little loft area that will be part of this garage. Will not be used for any kind of business, will not have any signage for any business, and being constructed for personal use only. Pretty much it.
I'd just like to make a comment, Teresa Beecham, 521 Timber Ridge Street, and his wife. The garage that we have in our current home, the angle on the driveway, the pitch is very hard for me. I'm in remission from my leukemia and I now have bad knees. So the garage will give us a flatter surface for me to enter in from the back of the home. Going up the drive, down the drive, when it snows here and ice is here, it's really hard for me, and as well as my parents.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yes, this is the Beecham Garage addition. The current zoning for this property is R3SF. It's in the Timber Ridge subdivision. It's approximately 0.49 acres. They are requesting an accessory dwelling unit with a detached garage with a livable space above. They met all their public notices and we didn't receive any public comments. The applicant is requesting conditional use for detached garage, which includes a livable space above the garage, which is classified as an accessory dwelling unit, use 25. The property is 0.49 acres and is lot 9 and 10 combined in the Timber Ridge subdivision, which is located off of Bliss Street. The property is zoned medium high density single family residential, which is R3SF. Per Title 14 accessory dwelling units at this time must be conditionally approved. The accessory dwelling unit will include an RV garage, a tandem garage, a powder room, outdoor stairs leading to the second floor, a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living room, and the total square footage of the structure is 1,760 square feet. The zoning for the property is listed in your packet, and the minimum lot area width and the building setbacks. The surrounding zones and uses for the property is surrounded by R3SF as it is within the Timber Ridge subdivision and has the future Parisi subdivision to the west of it. To the north is the Bliss Orchard subdivision, and the Somerset subdivision to the south is Timber Ridge subdivision phase 2. And to the east is the Center Point subdivision. The property can be accessed from Timber Ridge Street, which is a local road within the Timber Ridge subdivision. This lot has water and sewer through the Centerton Utilities Department. The attached garage will make utility connections to the existing home. Timber Ridge subdivision has covenants that specify requirements for architectural treatment and does include some restrictions on types of dwelling other than an attached single-family dwelling. Please note that the covenants are a private agreement between the POA and the residents within the subdivision and are not enforceable by the city. Other than the specified sections, the city is named. And they're listed there if you want to peruse it. Special conditions for the specific conditional use. The term of approval is recommended for an indefinite period of time from the date of PC approval. Approval of this permit will expire within 1 year if construction has not begun and will require reapplication and reapproval. If the building becomes damaged or destroyed by 50% or more, the conditional use application will be terminated and a new conditional use application will need to be submitted. The POA approval were recorded in Timber Ridge in 2006. Any action by the POA in relation to the covenants would be independent of the city's determination on the conditional use permit application, and the final determination of this application in no way relieves a responsible party from any provision or responsibility to said covenants. Applicant is encouraged to provide ADA accommodations, owner to accept any liability if non-ADA compliant, and the conditional use permit is for an indefinite period of time or upon the discontinuation of the approved use and will require reapplication. General conditions are listed in your packet. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners before we open them to the public?
So Luke has water and sewer capacity and they're gonna hook up to their existing to increase the flow.
I assume that there's another tap there because those were.
There is.
Oh, okay, good point. So,
They just combined it
Yeah.
into one.
okay.
Yep.
Somebody got lucky.
So, and I'm just looking at the design, there's a second driveway there. And that, I mean, I see it in the design, there's actually already a cutout for that there. There's no issue with making that a full driveway.
For residential lots.
But this was two separate lots, so that driveway was probably planned with the subdivision and then they combined the two lots into one.
So we're confident that both lots have been combined as one?
Yes, yeah.
Excellent. And then, with the location of it, just in regards to, I don't know that we have any control over this, as much as maybe it is a POA thing, is its location in consideration to the houses around it. Being able to see it and or have a view into a neighbor's backyard or anything of that nature, would it require any kind of,
It's outside the setbacks, right?
it is?
Yeah, it fits in.
It's 24 feet, so there's a chance.
It's within the setback.
What's that? It's within a,
The setbacks, yep.
All right.
No, you're fine.
It's been one of those days. And so think about if it was a regular with a two-story house that may be 30 feet up, so as long as it's within the setbacks. Okay, if there's no other questions, that I would like to go ahead and open up the entertain a motion for open a public hearing.
Yeah, motion to open the public. hearing.
Motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? We are now open to the public. If anyone wishes to speak, have any questions or comments in regards to the conditional use for the Beecham Garage Edition. Again, as a reminder, it's at 521 Timber Ridge Street. We'd ask you to come to the podium, state your name and address, and any questions or comments. For the record, I don't remember if Tara said this or not, there were no comments received from any of the neighbors, and all public notices were met. Second call for anyone who wishes to speak. And third and final call. Then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing for conditional use 2509.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? And if there's no other questions or comments, then I would entertain a motion for conditional use 2509, the Beecham Garage Edition.
Motion to approve conditional use 2509 Beecham Garage Edition, 521 Timber Ridge Street.
Second.
Motion and a second. Sam, if you'll do a roll call for me, please.
Langford,
Yes.
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
David Swoboda,
yes.
John Sessoms,
Yes.
Tony Davis,
Yes.
Ben Lewis, and Jeff Safar.
I'm a yes as well. Thank you, guys. Good luck. All right, next on the agenda is a conditional use 2510 Harmon short-term rental at 990 Boardwalk Avenue. It's zoned R3 single family. Is the applicant here to give us an overview?
Hi, I'm Kevin Harmon. My address is 3993 North Steel Boulevard, apartment 202 in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But I'm the owner and applying for conditional use permit to use as a short-term rental, 990 Boardwalk Avenue. It is 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, and it also has a flex space where the couch and a desk that people could work and stuff at. Will mainly be marketed to families visiting the area or professionals who are here temporarily to work. It'll be managed by Pinewood Management, and they have a lot of experience managing short-term rentals and mid-term rentals. We will find guests, primary sites through like Airbnb or Furnish Finder, or the same on multiple listing services. People from Furnish Finder or other longer term guests will be have a background check before being allowed to stay there, and Airbnb will need driver's license verification, and also the property management team will review prior reviews and the guest rating that other hosts have had for them. There's 2 parking spots in the driveway there. So parking shouldn't be an issue. Right?
I guess, how
Consideration.
many guests will you limit it to?
Maximum is for 6.
Kayla?
Yes, so this applicant is requesting a conditional use for short-term rental, which is use 86 in Title 14 zoning. The property is 0.06 acres, sorry, my typo, and is lot 30 in the Featherston Village subdivision, which is located on the southeast corner of Kimball and Womack. This is in the same subdivision as the short-term rental we just looked at, just on a different street. As the applicant said, the home is 2-bedroom and 2.5 baths and will be allowed to sleep up to 6 people. I can go through the full report again if you want. It's the same stuff.
Different location.
Yeah.
Kingsbury's different address.
Mhm.
For the notes, if you'll just make a note or record that it's the same conditions and staff findings is item A on the agenda so that we have that information. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners before we open it up to the public? If not, then I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Craig, I make a motion to open the public hearing for conditional use 2510.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. Is anyone opposed? Just also for the record, there were no public comments received and all public notices were met. So we are now open to the public. If anyone wishes to speak, have any questions or comments in regards to the conditional use for the Harmon short-term rental, we ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address. Any questions or comments?
Just for clarification, technically the email at 4:51 we received this afternoon also mentioned this address.
Second call for anyone who wishes to speak. And third and final call. And I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Is everybody good with 5 years on this one as well? Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, then I would entertain a motion for conditional use 2510 Harmon short-term rental at 990 Boardwalk Avenue.
Move.
Motion in a second. Samantha, if you do a roll call for me, please.
John Sessoms,
Yes.
Craig Langford,
Yes.
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
Ed Lewis,
Yep.
Brenda Swoboda,
Yes.
Lee Davis,
Yes.
Jeff Safar.
Yes, as well. Thanks. Good luck. Next on the agenda this evening is also a public hearing. This is for conditional use 2511. Boston Inc. Mobile Body Art. It's 880 East Centerton Boulevard. It is zoned C2. Is the applicant here to give us an overview? Okay. Sarah, would you like to give us a staff overview?
The applicant is proposing a conditional use for a temporary tattoo trailer, which is use 169 for temporary uses in the Tooth Squad Shopping Center at 880 East Centerton Boulevard. This property is zoned highway commercial C2. The trailer will be approximately 40 feet from the building. The owner of Loston Inc. will be moving into the tenant space next to Tooth Squad once the build out of their suite is complete. They are requesting a temporary conditional use from June 2025 to January 2026. The zoning for C2 is listed in your packet along with the setbacks. The surrounding properties, it's adjacent to the Copper Oak subdivision, which is RTHD to the north, Superior Storage C2 to the south, Jake's Fireworks C2 to the east, and Walgreens to the west. Property will be accessed from East Centerton Boulevard, which is a major arterial, 100 feet of right of way from the existing parking lot. The temporary use trailer will share parking with 2 Squad, and the location of the trailer is not taking up any parking spaces. Proposed hours of operation are from 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday. There will be 1 to 2 employees on site at a time. No signage is currently proposed, but for future, a sign permit will be required by the Public Works Department prior to any installation, if there is any. The term of approval is recommended for 7 months from the date of PC approval. The conditional use permit is for 7 months and will require a reapplication reapproval prior to January 3rd, 2026, if they need it longer. But if their build out is complete, then they might not need it longer. The hours of operation will be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Fire inspection is required prior to receiving a business license. Vendor and tenant shall be responsible for maintaining the present premise in good, clean, and unhazardous conditions. Applicants encouraged to provide ADA accommodations, and the general conditions are listed in your packet.
Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners before we open up to the public?
You said Walgreens to the west, Tire Plaza is now between those two,
Oh, yeah.
just so you're aware that it's all it's there.
Been wondering what that trailer is sitting there.
So is there an Airstream sitting there already?
Yeah.
So I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing, C 25-11.
Second.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? It does look like they met all public notices and there were no public comments received. And so we are now open to the public. If anyone wishes to speak, have any questions or comments in regards to the conditional use for a mobile body art temporary trailer, we'd ask that you come to the podium, name and address, any questions or comments? Second call. And third call for anyone that wishes to speak. Then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Craig. I make a motion to close the public hearing for CU 2511.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is there anyone that's opposed? If there's no other questions or comments, then I would entertain a motion for the conditional use 2511 Lost in Ink at 880 East Centerton Boulevard. Looks like the recommendation is for it to expire at the end of January 2026.
I guess I have a question, like, do they have to meet with the health inspectors and all that stuff before?
It's there. So there's some additional information here that I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but it's in red. So they're installing a restroom. They've installed the appropriate waste and freshwater tanks that are required by the health department. And they'll have a sink with the heated water and some other stuff. So it does look like they're set up for that.
And it's listed under the general conditions that they have to.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
The 7-month request
Mhm.
specifically.
They believe that their build out will be complete by the end of the year.
I mean, if not, it's an expense to them. They would have to come back. So the request, not ours.
That's why I was making sure it was theirs.
What did it say about signage again? There won't be signage?
Not on the,
Any
not for the
proposed
trailer.
signage right now.
Not for the trailer.
And then when and if they want to put it on the building, then that goes through a different.
So we have
us.
so we're gonna have a trailer business sitting out there with no indication that it's a tattoo trailer business. Or tattoo business,
Even on the
even a
trailer.
temporary, kind of feels like we should. Or something, even if it's temporary, like, I don't know, laminated something on the side. I mean, it just feels like it should be indicated that it's a place of business.
I mean, it's their choice, I guess, is the way I look
It
at
almost
it.
feels like this could be anywhere but a parking lot right on 102, but.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a following that they'll have word of
Well,
mouth.
they're gonna be tenants in that building, that's
I
why.
understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
Have an Airstream trailer sitting in a.
Make it a.
And I'm not
7 months.
recommending that they put a permanent sign out yet until the completion of everything, but it does feel like we're approving a place of, I don't know, I'm just kind of working this out in my head. I'm approving a place of business in our community in a public corridor there. There's not a house like we had before where these, in a house situation. I feel like there needs to be some kind of signage that it is a business.
If you'd like to,
That's my, I don't have a rule of some kind. This is just my,
if you'd like to propose that as part of your
I'd like to
motion.
propose there. I mean, I don't have a, I guess then I would have to put some kind of request on the type of signage. I don't know. I'm asking you guys.
Why would you
Your
want
thoughts on
a
that?
need? Are you saying, like, you're worried people are thinking you can now just put a trailer and live at a house off 102, or are you just helping to drive business to them so they know, or?
I guess it just seems more
guys,
professional
this is
for our
John. I
community.
think-
Go ahead, John.
Brandon, I
John?
think he wants the public to know that this is a place of business and not just a residential. And I know we do this for fireworks stands and things of that nature where it's temporary, but I think I agree with Brandon that there needs to be some kind of signage on the Airstream itself, just letting people know that this is a place of business. It's not someone residing in the parking lot.
Which has been, to me, it also just elevates the level of professionalism in our community. I mean, I have no problem giving a temporary trailer. I get that. While they're doing build out and they want to make money, I'm great with that. So I would recommend that we require signage.
I just kind of wonder if you approve this one, where does it stop? Like what other businesses coming forward are going to put a temporary structure for 8 or 9 months in the parking lot, you know, right through the community to operate a business? Whether it be, I don't know, liquor store, restaurant, and then you drive down 102 and then there's, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but you know, you have to think of the worst when you're thinking through this.
And
My only thought is, I mean, I understand that they may not be able to do the build out. And if that's the case, then at the end of January, they're gone. I get it. But it is a business that's trying to establish themselves in town. You know, I think about some others that have done it, you know, I'm thinking about the chicken place down here and whatnot. So
It's an approved use in a commercial zone.
you said it's an approved use in a commercial zone.
And if there's issues, we have conditions set that if there's complaints, then they'll have to come back. That's kind of where the conditions come into play. If they're not upkeeping it or that sort of thing, then they'll have conditions set on it.
So at the end of this, I mean, I'm feeling that a little bit too, that now opening up trailers to get as a place of business now before a business gets fully. Now, at the end of the 7 months, when it's up and they come back and say, hey, we just hadn't got the build out yet. Can we have an extension for a year? At that point, we can say, no,
we
you
can't.
had your shot, 7 months. That's all we want. We don't want trailers sitting out there for 2 years.
We could.
Yeah.
Or if one of you guys are driving down the street and see that's the worst eyesore that you've seen, then we could see it again before us, you know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm in favor of the signage. I don't think it needs to be a big elaborate.
Yeah.
I mean, identifying what they are.
If they,
If you make a
Yeah,
motion to
I
say
think-
this has
I
to be
think,
approved by the- We have a
One
sign
more
ordinance.
section
We need to sign one.
for the signage there. I can't say anything like I mean, it could be something as simple as a flyer in the window or one of those little chalkboards that you set out during the hours of operation, you know, just letting people know that this is a place of business. I think that's just general awareness of there's commerce being done in that space. Right?
so I would just recommend that we include that they have to include some sort of signage to be approved and based on the side ordinance. I mean,
Sign ordinance allowed.
Yeah, sign ordinance, yeah.
Does it allow just a little placard?
It
sign?
does. Think about the things that go on the ground and all the other stuff, you know.
Even be a foldable thing that they put out for their
They
hours.
could stick it on the,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
any other questions or comments, concerns? If not, then I would entertain a motion for the conditional use 2511 Lawson Inc. at 880 East Centerton Boulevard.
Ms. Craig, I make a motion to approve conditional use 2511 Loston Inc. for the 7 months as listed and with the condition of sign as per city ordinance.
Motion and a second. Samantha, if you do a roll call for me, please.
Lewis,
No.
Murphy Swoboda,
Yes.
John Sessoms,
Yes.
Craig Langford,
Yes.
Tony Davis,
Yes.
Kevin Murphy,
Yes.
Jeff Safar.
Yes. Thank you, guys. All right, next on the agenda this evening is a public hearing, also a conditional use, 2512 for Freeze Fireworks, a fireworks stand at 11301 Arkansas 72. It is zone C2, it's 22.65 acres. And the applicant is Freeze Industries. Is the applicant here to give us an overview?
They're Jacob Freeze Fireworks, PO Box 730, Town, Arkansas. Have it laid out on the map. I would like to ask what the parameters are to get this as a 3-year instead of just a 1 year. Because we had requested more years, but wasn't really given a reason why we could actually. Obviously, if the property goes to get developed in some other fashion.
Your notice only stated 1 year, right? We can consider his request, or can we?
So
Or every time?
when we go through the process, we normally. I think it was just lost in communication with this one. Because we were trying to specify if he wanted 4th of July and also New Year's, and in this specific case, he just said 4th of July. So we didn't realize it was to extend past and to keep going after that, because it just was 6/7 through 7/7/2025.
You'll have to forgive me, it's been a while since we've written this up. Did we not request New Year's Eve?
No.
I thought we had talked about, because I'm only open 2 days, and one of the comments back was, why are you only open 2 days? I could be mistaken. We had gone through this for another property last year. So maybe I'm getting the two mixed up, but I thought we had requested both seasons.
What did your, I don't have a copy of the public notice. Did it,
That's my question.
your public
Have a
notice?
specific timeframe. It just said a conditional use for
Outside, yeah.
temporary fireworks. It didn't have any specific time frame on the public.
So Brian, if that's the case, then we can we?
Yeah, I don't think there's a requirement for the time frame.
But our New Year's Eve season is literally 2 days. It's the 30th and 31st.
Right.
There's no reason to be open any longer.
So you're requesting that it would end on 28 is what you're requesting.
2028, yeah, 3 year. And like I said, of course, it is dependent if that property gets developed, because I'm not the owner, obviously.
Okay. It's noted then. Eric.
Yeah, I think it. Can it be revised? That way though. And just update the condition.
So Jeff, you're saying we can go ahead and add New Year's since this request, or?
We can add.
Okay.
Unless we've sent something out to the contrary, I think we can.
She has it in her email that it was updated. I didn't have it in my project folder to double check it, so that's on me.
So yeah, as long as the public.
We had a request.
Yeah, I have it.
Apparently, this sheet wasn't changed, but it didn't get caught that it had changed. It looked to be the same.
But to answer the question, if the public notice didn't specifically say June of 2025, that it's just a conditional use, then
We can.
we
The
can.
condition set, yeah.
I think that, I just
We
think it
can.
makes sense that we should.
So. Yeah, will you give us a staff overview?
Yes. The applicant is requesting a conditional use for a temporary fireworks stand, use 169 under temporary uses at 1131 West Arkansas State Highway 72, and the property is zoned highway commercial. You'll notice the property is the Centerton Commons location or the old Lightning Soccer location off of Highway 72. The zoning is in the packet for you to go over. Temporary uses are conditional in C2 zoning. Surrounding zonings and uses, the property is adjacent to Stonebriar subdivision to the north, which is in Bentonville. Agriculture to the east and Tuscany Phase 1 to the west. The property can be accessed from West Centerton, Arkansas Highway 72, which is a major arterial, 100 feet of right of way and a private drive that goes to Centerton Commons. Public parking will be provided on the east side of the tent, and in your packet, it shows a picture that is the general vicinity in which the tent will be located and also the parking area. The tent will be erected after June 20th and taken down after July 5th. Now knowing what we know, they'll erect again for the new year, at the end of December. I'll have to find the specific date, but, at the end of December through January 5th or 6th at that point.
Clarify one thing on that point. So that's our open days. The tent is set according to my tent rental company. So we give them a window of 6 weeks.
Okay. A sign permit will be required prior to any installation of any signage. There will be 4 employees working at a time and they will stay overnight on the property. Our approval is recommended at this time for 3 years from the date of PC approval. The applicant shall provide to the city prior to first sales date a copy of the firework license issued by the Arkansas State Police. Subject to fire inspections after stocking tent and must comply with Arkansas Fire Prevention Code. This conditional use is good for 3 years and will require reapplication and reapproval prior to June 3rd, 2029. 2028. And then the general conditions are listed in your packet.
Are you, looks like you're gonna erect the tent on the asphalt, or is it gonna be right off the edge of that on grass?
It's gonna be on grass.
Will you have signage? Like enter, exit? Signage? We've gone over this before, haven't we? With fireworks stands and signage in and out?
We
Yeah, but it's been specific ones just because of where they were at.
This one has 2.
This one technically has 2 entrances. And
This is about the perfect scenario for a fireworks stand.
It is.
Paved parking.
It is, yeah, it is.
And nice, ingress egress. But as far as signage goes, I don't know, I haven't operated in Centerton before, but our typical is a couple of feathered flags out by the road. So they just say fireworks, just generic.
Yeah, I think with having 2 entrances, this one's not as big of a deal as some of the others. Okay. Any other questions or comments from any of the commissioners before we open it up to the public?
I would say anything signed, there's a sign permit. Fireworks and both 3 public works. If you haven't sent that in, I'd send it in. We can forward that ordinance for you and an application for you if you need it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and with it being on the highway, if you chose to put it in the RDOT's right away, you'd have to go through the state highway department for their permit. Just to let you know.
Make sure they're out of the right of way. Thank you, Steph.
Have we done any specific conditions or just as it applies with like lighting, trash, those types of things?
I think just, I can't remember anything specific. I think there's some, no, not that I'm aware of.
But that was actually gonna be my question too, just for safety purposes, is there a lighting requirement and then for trash collection? Any kind of requirement for dumpster or anything of that nature?
No. We handle all that, just an FYI. We have 43 locations in 4 states. And so we have a dumpster or a dump trailer cycling constantly throughout the season. So we
What do
take
you do for lighting?
So we do lighting around the outside. Basically those job site lights that have the baskets around them. It gives us some light, to the passing by traffic, and then on the inside, we do the white LED job site lighting as well, just hanging
I
throughout.
think lighting's great for safety purposes, but also just the fact that, be aware that you do have a neighborhood across the street, so make sure those lights don't face the neighborhood.
Yeah, well, they're not crazy bright. They're like 60-watt bulbs.
With that, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open up the public hearing, please.
Second.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? Just as a note, there were no public comments received and all the public notices were met. So we are now open to the public. If anyone wishes to speak, have any questions or comments in regards to the conditional use for temporary fireworks stand, ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address, and any questions, comments, or concerns. Second call. And third and final call. Then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is anyone opposed? Any other questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
Did staff go through their stuff?
Tara did.
Oh, did you? Went through all of it or not?
It's okay. This is our fifth one, so.
I know.
If there's no more questions or comments, then I would entertain a motion for conditional use 2512 for Freeze Fireworks stands. And it would be for the 3-year term.
For a 3-year term?
3 years, and it would include July 4th and New Year's.
And in that 3-year term, if, again, kind of like before with the whole trailer thing, if we're getting complaints from the traffic and neighbors and stuff, that comes back to us.
It does. It does. They shine a light in a neighbor's house across the street, they come complain, then yeah, we would see them.
This time you'll make a motion to approve conditional use 2512 fireworks.
Motion and a second. Samantha, if you do a roll call for me, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Ed Lewis.
Yes.
Kevin Murphy.
Yes.
Craig Langford.
Yes.
Curtis Swoboda.
Yes.
John Sessoms.
Yes.
Jeff Safar.
I'm a yes as well. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Here, oh yeah, for
Do we
3
need to add the
years, I would
3 years
like
on
to
it?
change it for, to add the additional 3 years.
You already said the 3 years. You were covered.
All right, next on the agenda is development 2310 and PUD 2205 Flyway Crossing. Preliminary plan and PUD approval extension. This is at 447 Kimmel Road. It is zoned R3 multifamily, 18.3 acres, 171 dwelling units. And the applicant is Flyway Ventures. The applicant here to give us an overview of what you're requesting.
I get an email and else they don't need to be here because we're just renewing something that was approved.
They were planning to come to the last meeting, but we canceled it.
And the only reason we didn't ask the applicant to be here is because this isn't a fault of them. So the applicant is requesting a 1-year extension of preliminary approval for development plans to develop a multifamily development at 447 Kimmel Road. Included 171 dwelling units. That was a mix of single-family detached and attached units. It has a PUD that was approved in 2022, and then their development plans were approved July 2nd. Before all comments were addressed, however, the project cannot begin construction due to the sanitary sewer capacity limitations of Decatur wastewater treatment plant. So the applicant has done everything that they need to do, and it's a situation outside of their control. We're recommending it get reapproved.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from Any of the commissioners?
This is the question on timing. It was approved in July of last year. They didn't get their approval to build.
We got caught in the Decatur capacity because that's been going on since like May of last year and even before then.
Has it really been that long?
It has.
If there's no other questions or comments, then I would entertain a motion for the 1-year extension for development 2310 and PUD 2205 Flyway Crossing.
Motion to approve development 2310 and PUD 205 Flyway Crossing preliminary plan and PUD approval extension for 1 year.
Second.
Motion and a second. There, anyone that's opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda is subdivision 2217, The Landing. Final plat and bonds at 8931 Greenhouse Road. It is zoned R3 single family, 40 buildable lots, 40 dwelling units. Looks like Bates and Associates is the applicant engineer.
Eli LaSalle here on behalf of Bates and Associates.
Quick overview, anything outstanding?
Sorry, do you want the overview for me or from staff?
First.
Okay, for sure. There were a couple of outstanding items at the time that this document was put together, but I believe all of those have now been addressed with city staff. And I'm not aware of anything remaining that's outstanding.
Okay. Ayla?
So this parcel is located on the west side of Greenhouse Road between Creekside Phase 1 and Coil Ridge Phase 1 subdivisions. The density of the subdivision is 3.84 units per acre. At the time of this report, there were minor outstanding items. However, as of this afternoon, they have finished all outstanding items. The subdivision did have an approved PUD and they have met all of their approved PUD requirements. Those are listed in your packet for you. And then the zoning, because it has a PUD, those setbacks and lot requirements are also in your packet for you. A site inspection was held on 5/28 and they have since addressed all outstanding comments. There were 2 wells on site that were abandoned, and we did receive the well documents for that. Covenants have been received and they are approved by the city engineer and the city attorney. Portion of this property is located within flood zone A or AE. A floodplain permit was approved with the preliminary plans. And a wetlands assessment was complete with the preliminary plans and it was determined that there are no areas of wetlands on site. The street and drainage and water and sewer bond estimates have been approved by staff and we did receive drafts of the bond and that got approved today. So we're just waiting for issuance of the bond, which will happen after we accept the improvements at the council meeting. So those bond amounts are in your packet for you. The street and drainage bond is 50% for 2 years, and then the water and sewer bond is 50% for 1 year. For streets, Buckhorn Flats Road is designed as a minor arterial planned right of way of 90 feet for the adopted master street plan. This development dedicated the full 80 feet. They dedicated a full 80 feet right of way, like 10 less than what was required. However, they constructed the full road, including 30-foot pavement, back of curb, 2-foot curb and gutter, street lights, and street trees on the north side of Buckhorn Flats. The 10-foot trail to meet the master street plan and the street trees on the south side of Buckhorn Flats will be constructed with the home builders, by the home builders when they construct the homes, and the developer has provided a letter that Public Works accepted, guaranteeing that the work will be complete with the homes. Greenhouse Road is designated as a major arterial with a planned right of way of 100 feet for the adopted master street plan. This subdivision will dedicate 50 feet of right of way to meet that requirement. And additionally, they planted street trees along tract A, which is their open space that they preserved for their PUD. So they planted it outside the right of way. So hopefully they shouldn't have to be torn up with the greenhouse expansion. And then 1 street light was installed at the entrance off of Greenhouse Road. No other road improvements were required. The final plat has addressed all comments. The record drawings and drainage report have been fully approved. And then we did receive and approve all the compaction tests with the building safety department. Happy to answer any questions.
Are these gonna have rear loaded garages?
Private streets, not be owned and maintained by the city.
Okay. I guess my only, and I don't know how we missed, my only thoughts would be there's no lighting on that back, right? So they'll pull into that drive and all that'll be dark back there.
For whatever the lighting they put.
Thank you, Jeff.
I just think there's a lot of buildings there and then the sidewalk and some other things with no lighting or anything, but I mean, it's already constructed, but it was just more of a comment than anything, so.
There are lights.
I'm sorry.
On the north side of Buckhorn Flats. So the front part of the subdivision will be, the public part of the subdivision will be lit.
Okay.
The private alley, that's not lit.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Bill?
I just have a question, because I got a number of complaints on this subdivision, where they hooked the sewer up. I just wanted to make sure that, we looked at, where the sewer connection was, and it was, I know I've talked to Jeff, and he said he would take care of it, and I just want to make sure it's taken care of our satisfaction before we approve it.
One of the greenest sites.
I wish we had pictures of the site because.
I'm talking about where, where they connected, not
Yeah.
their actual site, but in the back.
So there's an
Close
off
enough.
sewer that they had to install for the subdivision that had a lot of trees. They preserved as many trees as they were able. It's a very, very green site.
They've reseeded it. It's just like a path through there, but it's
We're happy with it? Okay, I just want to make sure we're satisfied.
It looks very nice.
on either side of where they put the sewer main in.
Yeah, you can kind of see it going off the plat there. There's trees on either side of that sewer line.
That's great.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, then I would entertain a motion for final plat and bonds for the landing at 8931 Greenhouse Road.
Greg, I make a motion to approve 17, the landing final plats and bonds.
Motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right, thank you. Thanks. Good luck. All right, next on the agenda is subdivision 2216, the reserve at Wolverine. It's the final plat and bonds, Wolverine Drive and Cutbirth Lane. It is zoned R2, 57 buildable lots, 57 dwelling units. And it looks like Sand Creek Engineering is the engineer. How are you tonight?
Dan Cole, Sand Creek Engineering. We do have a 58 buildable lots. We did have some numerating issues on whether our detention ponds were part of numbered lots or tracks, but we do have 58 buildable lots. We dedicated right away along Wolverine, did full width for expansion of that green drive with street trees, covenants as well. We do have a couple pending things, and that's part of the asking for approval contingent upon. We've got a generator with wheels under it coming our way to get the upgraded lift station up to par to handle the flow. And we have a couple extra lots. Need extra compaction as well. So those are the two things that are pending.
Okay. Kayla?
Yeah, so this subdivision is located at the southwest corner of Wolverine and Cutbirth Lane and consists of 58 single-family lots and 1 detention lot. The density of this subdivision is 2.15 units per acre, and there are some minor outstanding comments remaining. The site has been approved other than the lift station and Maple Estate subdivision. All street improvements have been complete. So there was a site inspection held on 5/8, and since then, all punch list items have been corrected, other than the lift station at Maple Estates, which those improvements are anticipated to be finished this week. So that they should still be ready to go to the council for final approval. I spoke with the Center for Utilities Director, and he was confident that was possible, which is why it's here before you today. The covenants have been received and approved by the city engineer and city attorney. There are no wetlands on this property. The property is not located within presently established 100-year floodplain as determined by the NFIP. The streets, drainage, water, and sewer bond amounts have been approved by staff and were pending draft bonds before they get issued. Those bond amounts are in your packet for you. The streets and drainage bonds are 50% for 2 years, and the water and sewer bond is 50% for 1 year. For streets, Wolverine Drive is designated as a major collector with a planned right-of-way of 80 feet. This subdivision will dedicate an additional 10 feet of right-of-way to meet the required 40 feet. 30 feet was previously dedicated. The road was widened approximately 11 feet and a 10-foot trail was constructed to meet our master trails plan. Curb and gutter was installed with drainage improvements as well as street trees and light at entrances, intersections, and every 300 feet. Cutbirth Lane is designated as a minor collector with a planned right-of-way of 80 feet, and this subdivision will dedicate 40 feet along their frontage. The intersection of Cutbirth and Wolverine was paved, and a fire access point is provided from Cutbirth. No additional improvements were completed along Cutbirth at this time. I believe there's room on the north side of the subdivision to have a phase 2, so at that time, Cutbirth would be improved. There are some comments remaining on the final plat regarding labeling. I'm pretty sure you guys have just resubmitted, so we just need to double check that those got addressed. The drainage report was approved by the city engineer, and then the record drawings had the same minor comments regarding labeling. And then we are awaiting the rest of the compaction tests for the lots. To have those soon. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Not, then I would entertain a motion for subdivision 2216, the reserve at Wolverine, final plat and bonds. I do think we should make a stipulation, just for the record around the outstanding comments, and then of course the lift station, so that it passes the final inspection, right?
This is Tony, I'll make a motion to approve subdivision 22-16, the reserve of Wolverine, pending completion of outstanding comments before approval of the city council.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed?
Good luck, thank you very much.
Under other business, any update on the sewer capacity or?
Not a whole lot. There is a meeting on Friday that is getting reached, and the regional planning meeting indicator. There's a cave and hypo. Decatur. Just Decatur. Oh, Bentonville, okay. So I'm still working with her to get some numbers together for regional planning to do a capacity study on it.
Okay. Kayla, any update on the grant? You want to say anything on that or?
Yeah, so the RFQ had a 6-week posting that closed on May 23rd. We had 20 submissions, which is a record for the program. And then the UI team helped narrow it down to 7, and then we'll hold interviews in the next 2 weeks to pick the consultant. I will let you know as we figure out who to pick.
Okay. There's a council meeting on the 10th. Our next meeting is the 17th. Just let us know if you will not be here. Just as a reminder, Lorraine reminded me for the meeting that beginning in July or after July?
Well, August 1st, you will no longer be able to participate in the meeting online.
Have to be in person.
FOIA is modified.
In order to kind of as present on the board, you have to be physically in attendance.
So just make note of that. So our next meeting's the 17th, so if you can't be here, make sure that you let us know. And there's a community branding meeting on the 26th, it looks like.
It's like a community engagement meeting to talk about future branding of the city of Centerton.
Anything else from staff?
We did just have a public engagement session to update the public. We did just have a public forum of sorts to update the public on the design for the community, the recreation center. So we have that PowerPoint up just in case you guys haven't seen it, if you guys want to look at it.
I'll just kind of click through it real quick. This would just be phase one. We do have it planned where it could be two phases where we can expand out to add an additional gym, add an additional outdoor pools and, you know, possibly a amphitheater toward the back and things like that. So we did go ahead and trail, yeah. This is what would be future plans.
All right. Anything else from staff? Anything from commissioners? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
We'll move.
Motion second. Is anyone opposed? Thanks, John.
Thank you.
You say, I know, we were like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm not eating dinner till close to